citizens of the world. Shaba Shams here with Shaba Speaks, a show and a podcast that speaks about health, wealth, and relationships in an attempt to what? Inspire, empower, and connect the citizens of the world. So my guest today is just such a wonderful, wonderful human being that I just met by, I would say, accident, whatever you want to call it, fate, rather. She was live on Facebook, and I started listening to her, and it's like, oh my God, I want to meet this woman. I want to connect with this woman. So without any further ado, I have Jennifer Lamprey here with me. Hello, Jennifer.
Hello. Thanks for inviting me. I appreciate it.
Oh my gosh, it's such a pleasure to have you here. I normally really do not prepare questions. I do not, spend a lot of time, um, thinking and rethinking about what the conversation is about, because I'm super organic and I like to let the flow. I like to let things happen. But one of the things that really inspired me to want to have you on my show, because part of what I do is talk about, health, wealth, and relationships, the wealth part and the business and the entrepreneurship. And I really liked your life you did when you were talking about the three signs of how you know you will make money or something like
How
that.
you'll be rich, baby.
Oh, it's great. In
How you gonna make it in 2021?
Exactly. But before we get into the nutshell of what it is, tell me a little bit about yourself.
Oh, girl. Well, I actually am in California, so I'm in San Diego County. I'm over here in Carlsbad. I have three daughters, 18, 15, and 8. So I am, I work with women. I have three daughters. Like my life is really focused on the feminine and women and helping women. And so, which is fun. And I live in a very beautiful area, about a mile and a half from one of the best beaches on the planet. So I'm pretty blessed. Honestly, like I just am very grateful. I've created my life though. So I'm really about creating your own existence and manifesting what you want and putting that vision out and then acting on it. So I've done that. And so I'm really, honestly, if I could say anything just that would kind of, I guess, who am I really is I just serve. I just want to serve. I want to support. I want to help people be the very, very best version of themselves, especially women. I think women are just some of the strongest leaders we have on the planet right now. And I think that the world needs us. And so, yeah, I'm just focused on that right now. And especially my focus is women in business, because I think that women in business leading in the feminine, being very feminine still, but only, working not full-time, but half-time and still, or part-time and still making a lot of money. And then being able to support their communities, their spouse, their kids, and just being able to have that beautiful integration. So that's what I'm doing right now. I mean, those are some of the things that I'm committed to.
So tell me, how did you get here? How did you get into finding this calling, this path of yours? And how far back can you recall this idea and this mission and vision started really becoming so crystal clear that
Yeah.
you want to spend the rest of
Well,
your
it's funny. I was going to say something else just thinking about that question, but actually what just came to me is to share when I was 19. So I had a big bout when I was young I was doing drugs and, living a very promiscuous lifestyle from a young age, like 12 to about 17. And I found God and, really found that there was something greater, that he knew that I was greater than what I saw and how I was acting. But when I was 19, I was playing tennis. I started playing tennis and I wanted to go pro, and I was very committed to that. And I had this little vision that was not just a vision, but it was like this thing that was stuck in me. And I saw myself helping people heal in seconds. And I didn't really understand what that meant at the time. Honestly, I just saw it. And what's so crazy is that was 19, I'm 46. This whole journey has, I believe, gotten me to the point I'm at right now, where my business is called Quickening. But our thing is to help fast results, fast healing, quick things, like really that we can transform faster than we ever imagined. And so, it's just been like this journey of step by step, learning how to be focused, learning how to love myself, I went through a divorce and a foreclosure and all this stuff. You go through all this stuff and it's like, I just know who I am. Honestly, I believe in myself. And it's because of that, those moments when I was 17 and decided to see myself bigger than what I could see at that moment. And that was with God's vision. And I've just stayed focused on that vision of being that person and helping other people be that. So, I mean, and then really it's been a transition of over years of working with masterminds and being trained to run entrepreneur masterminds. I've run my own in San Diego County, and shout out to Patrick Carney. Maybe he'll see this, but he was one of my mastermind gurus. Really helped me in a downtime. And then I had a few offices as far as like healing and helping people heal. And it led me to this, just to stay really focused and help women. I just saw a real need. I started working in an addiction arena. I've done a lot of different things, but all of them pointing me back to who we are and our belief in ourselves. And the craziest part, what I found is that business, probably the craziest part of it all is I found business of all things I've done in my life, sports and healing and, addiction recovery, is that business actually is one of the best filters and transformers for women nowadays. So that's why I'm focused on recession proofing women, because if women are recession proof, I mean, really, what can stop us, right? So, yeah, I don't know if you have any, that makes a lot of sense, but I mean, it kind of went all over the place, but mainly I just have been focused. Like I just keep focusing and going to the next thing and then focus and, and it just keeps evolving. So
this
it's been a pretty
kind of
exciting journey.
transformation that you are able to do with yourself and client, what is the secret of it? Do you think there is a leverage from the client himself or herself in your case? Is it something that person must absolutely desire more than anything else, that the transformation is successful? I mean, when you work with women, what helps that quick turning point?
Well, we actually came up with we have a formula that's been created over the last 3 years from us working just literally day by day with clients and refining our processes and seeing how to, and we are 1,000% focused on results, and we want to get those results faster and faster and faster. So we came up with a formula, and part of that formula is actually from doing specific things and then repeating them and learning from it and doing specific things, whatever that process is. And our process happens to be the marketing, sales, and just continuing to do client fulfillment with coaching. But I would say probably the biggest thing is that women have to own the fact that they have one thing in front of them that's keeping them from the next big breakthrough. Mm-hmm. And I put a process in place to be able to figure that out. And that took, again, by working with a lot of people, hundreds and hundreds of women and people in general over the years, we were able to break it down into a specific process to be able to find that core, clear, I guess, roadblock that's in front of you. And that's what I talked about in that video that you saw, because I just utilize a process. And the cool part is that I'm all about creating systems with the processes we do so we can go out there and help a lot of people. So we've been able to put into a system where I teach that to other women to do. And I just think it's more about being willing to face that and then doing and repeating the things that work over and over and over again. That's
the hurdle, the obstacle. Would you consider it some sort of a limiting belief, something that holds people back?
It really can be a lot of, honestly, it's going to be very specific to the person. Right. So, I mean, it could be a family member, it could be a past situation that they can't let go of. It could be a pattern, of course, of thinking. It could be an emotional response that they keep having.
Trauma, abuse in the past, for instance.
Yes, exactly. There might be one, but it's a specific thing around that is going to stop them and is in front of them. So the key to this isn't that you just have this big, kind of ambiguous thing. It's you actually really can pinpoint exactly what it is. The problem is people first of all, people don't even really believe that that's possible, that there's one thing that's standing in your way, right? We think it's tons of things because we're just these,
I wasn't gonna say, oh, do you want to try it on me and see how it is? Maybe I'm not gonna like the answer. I might not like what you're gonna find out.
You will like it because see, I think that's the other key is that you want to progress. So if you want to progress and you're willing to face whatever it is and you really want your goal, I think probably the other piece that's an equation in this is that you have an end result or an outcome goal in mind.
So
you have goals.
So how long does that process take?
Well, really, the initial process for me only takes, again, I teach this to my coaches, is just in our sales call and then in our outcome or our onboarding call. So literally we can do that. And usually you can find it right on the sales call. So when I get on a strategy call with somebody and I'm talking to them and I'm asking them questions, usually one of my biggest focuses is to find that one thing. Because when you find that one thing, usually people will go like, oh my gosh, that's it. And it's only because we've been able to ask questions to get the clues from them. So it literally can be that. Now the challenge, like I was about to say, is that it's not just about finding it. It's about being willing to keep looking at it or knowing that that is your issue, right? It's very easy, especially for women, like you said before, just to kind of be, okay, well, that's it. But then you lose trust in yourself. You lose trust in the person that helped provide that reflection. You get distracted to this, no, wait, it's my husband. No, wait, it's this. And then next thing you know, that thing is now, which usually happens, it's put to the side and you forget about it.
Yeah.
So it's important to put a process in place that you remember that hurdle.
I'll probably get on a strategy call with you, but definitely not something that I would share because, like, really, I'm thinking, like, I'm tempted. It's like, okay, what are your questions? And then I'm like, I don't think this is something, let's do a strategy.
I think you would surprise yourself. Again, if you're wanting to progress, you're going to want to know because.
No, the knowing is fine. It's just like, I don't know if it's something.
Oh, you want anybody to know?
That I want to share with the world. It's like,
it's probably something you've already talked about. I'm sure it's probably stuff you've already been talking to your audience about.
Yeah. So then back to your work with your clients and customers, with regard to identifying that hurdle. What would you say? And I know you said everybody is different and so on and so forth, but what is that common ones that you have noticed can be really of a hurdle, like if you were to create patterns?
Well, in our world, when people are wanting to start businesses or progress in their business, actually we have 3 levels in our programs. We have 3 basic programs that are all linked together that kind of take you from this point to this point to this point, and we put people in different spaces depending on where they're at, actually depending on what hurdle they really have. But probably if I were to say like the higher level person who's already maybe making 5 figures a month, usually will have some sort of consistency issue. So being very consistent, mechanical, doing the right money-making actions to get that next level, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So that's what I would say. A lot of the people that we talk to, it's usually that. The other big problem that so many of the women that I talk to have is, actually, you said the exact thing, is they have so many ideas, so many options, so many opportunities, and they want to use all of them and they don't know which one to use. So they start here and then they'll get distracted and do this. And so literally that's probably the biggest hurdle we've worked on in our HTBI, we call it. It's the high ticket, big impact program. Is so many women have come in with maybe 8 businesses, 5 businesses, 4 focuses, and we'll bring them in within like a week or 2 and shrink that down into one main niche focus message, and they double, triple, quadruple their incomes very quickly. So, and in fact, we had a woman, she's a CPA, she's actually an investment banker, and she came in just within, she got her first client she'd been working with a lot of different people, very successful, six-figure, years. And she could have just stayed very, consistent in that. But when she came in, we literally just hyper focused, faced that hurdle. And when we did, it just opened up this whole new world to her, where now she can see herself charging triple what she was charging before in a third of the time, because of now what she's facing with that hurdle. So I don't know if that answers your question. It was kind of a long one to that, but that's what we find. Probably the biggest one with women in business is that until you hit 7 figures, and then you're not doing that anymore. 7 figures a year.
So have you had experiences where you do these strategy sessions and you identify the hurdle and then the client just says, screw it, it's too hard for me.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And it's hard, honestly. I mean, I used to want it more than them. Because when you've been on the other side of this and you see what really can happen to somebody, and you've watched it over and over and over again, when you hear somebody say no, it is very difficult to swallow that person is saying no to their potential, to their ability, when it's right there on the other end.
Trust me.
So, huh?
Trust me, I know. I mean, I work with too, and sometimes it's like, that you need this. It's like, okay, I'm unhappy with my life, but I don't want to do anything about it, and to take control and to shift my mindset or whatever else. And it's like, that you only have this one life.
That's true.
It's
That's
a
true.
gift. Well, why? I mean, you spend money and time and you invest so much in so much that is not relevant or important to your life. But when it comes down to really making these decisions that can
Change everything.
change everything.
Well, and I mean, we just talked about that on our coaching. I do a sales coaching call. We have a team that does the calls in our courses, but we actually just identified the cost. And I talk about this a lot with my clients. It's actually really fascinating to me how often we do not look at how very rare we look at the cost of a choice, right? So, as I was talking to my women, in order to double, triple, I mean, this is just a little throw out there value for you guys, but if you want to double, triple, quadruple your income, you could do one thing, and that would be just look at the cost of that person not doing what you can help them to do and change in 10 years. What's the cost to them? And when my clients identified that yesterday, one woman got up to $700,000 cost. So for her to charge $1,500 for her course is ridiculous, right? Like, you look at that cost. And so a lot of times I think when you're on a strategy call, you want to help people understand the real cost of not choosing that. And a lot of times we are scared to death to get uncomfortable. So we won't look at the cost of that choice of not moving forward and facing that hurdle,
Absolutely. So let's talk now about the 3 signs that you're going to make it in 2021. I think
we just talked about one. That was good.
I remember sales.
Yes.
Very important. So a lot of people are not comfortable selling. A lot of people are even afraid to approach somebody to say, hey, I have this amazing thing for you. And then, of course, on the other side, we have a lot of people who look at you. It's like, what are you going to sell to me again? And so what's your take? How do you change your mindset as an entrepreneur to understand that it's because you sell that you're going to make it? You can't make it without selling.
Well, and this is kind of because we're organic doing this. The thought I just had was to ask you the question from what I just talked about. You even said get on a strategy call and find out what it is. What to you in that experience was different? Why would you get on a sales call with me, or why would you get on a sale? And I'm just sharing that because this really is the key here.
Oh, no. I mean, I can absolutely share with you. I mean, I was going to share with you this afterwards, but I can share it with you. Because before we jumped on the recording, I did share with you that I am I consider myself as a very spiritual entity. And I believe in alignment, and I believe that sometimes you attract that one thing. I wouldn't say that one thing, but you attract something that you are ready for. Like they say, or Gandhi says, when the student is ready, the teacher shows up. So sometimes you are in different layers and levels in your life where you reach a certain threshold and you're manifesting something. I truly believe that you showing up already today on this call or this recording is something that I've been manifesting. I
Mhm.
just did actually a call earlier, not long ago, with a CEO of Brand B Communication and Marketing, and he's out from Dubai, and we were talking about mentorship. And I've always had mentors. I always had coaches. I always had people I rely on and depend on in terms of getting me to the next level or even helping me sort through my thoughts. Because that's also very important. Sometimes entrepreneurs have avalanche of thoughts and ideas that it's very hard to process and it becomes chaotic. I wish you can see my office around.
I can only imagine.
I have like pin boards all around, and I have everything that pops in my brain. um, I have notepads and sticky notes, and because I do not like, I'm all about energy and flow. I do not like to reject ideas because they came to me and I'm not judging them. So what I normally do, I record them and I save them, and then I look at them and I say, is this something that I want to look at right now or maybe later, and so on and so forth. So I learned, because I had mentors and coaches before, that this is the right process instead of blocking the energy and the flow of creativity. However, sometimes, especially when you are working in this business and and so focused and whatever in day-to-day operation, I would say sometimes it's hard to come out and see the big picture or the direction. And you need like-minded people, you need a mentor, you need a coach. And I do desire that I always have somebody along my path to get me to the next level, to the next thought, to the next idea, uh, because it's important. It's a support system. So interesting. This question came at a moment where I was literally just having a conversation with this marketing CEO, and we were talking about mentorship. And I said, I think I'm ready for my next mentor.
Mm,
I had kind of a moment a few days ago that I actually reached out to him, and he gave me some insight. And while I'm doing this, I was telling him I'm ready for my next mentor. And he says, oh, you can always reach out anytime you want. But it's like, you
yeah.
know what you're manifesting, and you know what you can have a lot of friends, and I'm grateful that I have a lot of a very good support system around me, like-minded people, because I belong to this circle that I've been very selective in creating around me. I don't waste my time on nonsense. So that's really what I chose. You talk about designing your life, I'm with you right there, because once I started this personal growth and this just kind of letting my soul become the best version of myself in a way, the first decision that I made is to be not really the first, because I've always been selective. Even before, like when I was a teenager, I didn't have a lot of friends, and I was very, very selective
Mhm.
because I kind of knew early age, that I don't know how to say it without
Who
saying
you were. I mean,
it.
it sounds like you knew who you were in a lot of ways.
Oh yeah, and I don't want to say this without sounding as a snob, because it's not being a snob, but I didn't feel, and I don't feel that a lot of people around me, unfortunately, have a lot to offer. So that's why I'm very, selective, and that's why I rely on certain groups of people that I surround myself. But it's kind of a long, long answer to your question. But I've been manifesting this. So when I invited you and started talking to you, and I'm like, I'll be interested in seeing
Hmm.
and come out of this.
Yeah.
Yeah, no
Well,
judgment.
well, what I love what you just said, and really, what I'm hearing is that you listen to your intuition.
Yes, always.
So one of the biggest things that I believe is with women, I believe it's a little bit different. From my experience of working with mainly women, I've worked with men, but women have we're different. The way we think, the way we do things a lot of times is a little bit different. And so in sales, it's following your intuition. It's following your guidance. It's being authentic like you're doing, and being real and vulnerable and open. And I think we've lost sight, probably because there's been more of a masculine framework, which is beautiful and perfect, and we need that. We need that systems and that building process. But women, I think, are coming in now in sales, and we're kicking butt because we're coming in with these creative intuition, just love and vulnerability and authenticity,
And also
right?
empathy, feeling really what
Total.
people's struggles are about, as opposed to, oh, I'm gonna take, I'm gonna do this or that. It's like, okay, how does it feel to you?
Yes, yes.
How are you feeling about it? How are you experiencing that? And we're taking the time actually to identify those, because um, they're part of our human experience, and we cannot kind of just deny them.
Yeah. And so, I mean, you, to me, that's exactly, it's basically what I just did and shared with you, knowing some of your own like your issue. You had just mentioned a little bit about it earlier. It's what my zone of genius is, right? One of the issues that you're dealing with, and you match those together in a sales call. And that's why you get people on sales calls, and you do it because, if you have something that I know that I can help with, why would I ever hide that from you? Why would I ever not, do what I can to support you to understand that? Now, the thing that we teach, though, is a little bit different, where, it's not that just put yourself out there and just tell them what you do. And, it's more, you do need to be very intentional, and you need to understand how to do it in a way that's going to be very them focused. And so, that's the difference in sales to me. And again, like we said, without sales and without really getting the system of sales from beginning to end, even while you're in with your clients, you're not going to have that rich 2021 or the 2022. Like, you just can't have it. And so many people just push sales away. Like, you'll do all the marketing and you'll do all the stuff, but the sales is like over here. Yet that needs to be this all is the goal to here. And then to get the results for your clients. And it just beautiful. I always think of the infinity symbol, which I'm
Yeah.
sure you also love, but that's to me what that is. And sales is just this ability to help people get there. And
And so what's the third sign?
well, the third sign actually is funny, because that's exactly what it's, the community piece, right? So I love what you said. I mean, it's exactly, you have to be intentional. In fact, I was talking to my 15-year-old before we got on, and I got a little bit upset about some stuff with, anyway, she's homeschooled right now because of this whole thing. She's gifted, talented. They've already told her she can be a professional singer, her singing coaches. I mean, and I realized, and we talked deeper about the influence that her friends have, obviously, right? I know we talked to our kids about this, but what we talked about was the influence that I have. And because she has me as a safety measure to not do the things she used to do when she was in 8th grade, which she had some hard times in 8th grade, kind of like I did. And so we've had a safety mechanism, which is her mom, to say, my mom won't let me go, or I have to ask my mom. And I think we don't do that enough. We need to create such a tight, and I say tight, not to keep us restricted, but to keep us free. A tight community of focused, value-driven, also women that are not going to let you get away with your crap, and you will keep helping you face that, hurdle. But we have to be so intentional with that and create that. And if we do that with the cells, with the gap, like I talked about, and facing the gap, literally, I'm telling you, like, those 3 things, if you literally just focus on those 3 things, you will create riches. There's just no way, you actually can't not create it. It's just a given, which is so fun, right? I mean, it's really fun. So.
All right, we are about getting close to the end of our session. Thank you for being here. But before I let you go, your call to action. What would you?
Hmm.
advice. People,
Fun.
we are only like January 13. Still a long way to go to make the best out of 2021.
Well, I have a lot of things that I could give, but I think I'm going to give this one on this call, and that is create your vision to riches. And what I mean by that is you have to see what rich is to you, because rich isn't just money. Rich is the senses, right? You're feeling all of that stuff, and create your vision. And then you have to tap into that in the morning when you wake up and when you go to bed. And if you can do that consistently for 30 days, you are going to see some big changes besides putting these three things in place. My call to action, though, to invite people is you're welcome to come into our Facebook group. We are literally just ramping it up. My whole team just created a whole action plan around this for the next quarter today. We just like really got it in place. So you're going to be able to expose yourself to all three of these things for riches and get that support too. And we're actually creating, we're going to have a mastermind that we've already run. It's free, but it's only for people that make at least $1,000 a month and above. So you can't be like at the very beginning of a business, not making the money yet.
Mm-hmm.
So you're welcome to come in there if you want to hop in and just rub elbows with all of us and talk some good talk.
Hey,
Learn some good things.
you heard it there. So what's the name of your group, your Facebook group?
It's called Revenue Mastermind.
All
It's a
right.
revenue mastermind. Yeah.
Revenue Mastermind.
Yes.
You guys heard it here. So thank you, Jennifer, again for your time.
Thank
I'm
you.
really delighted to have you. Don't go yet.
That's
So
fun.
this is it. We're wrapping up another episode of Shaba Speaks. We talk about health, wealth, and relationship in an attempt to inspire, empower, and connect the citizens of the world. And I will see you on the next one. And salam.